All right. Well, welcome everybody. I don't need that one at the moment. We're OCA Days, day 2, and we're going to have a round table about the life of Odoo Integrators in the OCA ecosystem. So we've got 4 lovely panel members here. We've tried to get a bit of a global perspective here. So we have Technativa in Spain, I don't know if you ever say this right, Thurp or Terp? Either way, in the Netherlands, Serpent in India, and Numigi in Canada. So we've got a bit of a mix here to hopefully give you a good round of things. So I'll just quickly get each panel member integrator to introduce themselves, your company, your role, and your experience with Odoo and the OCA. So I'll start with you, Julien.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Hello everyone. My name is Julien, and I've been working on Odoo since 2016, and I work with Numigi from 2018. I'm a co-founder, and I work more as a business consultant, project manager, and I've been seeing the evolution of Odoo since then, and it's been a fun journey. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello everyone, bonjour. This is Jay from Serpent Consulting India. I've been myself working on Odoo since 2007, ever since Odoo itself was version 3. So then I started my company Serpent in 2011, and then onwards with Odoo's open source genes we started. Then the gene was well nurtured by OCA. So our open source mindset has been well polished through OCA only. So from 14 onwards, ever since OCA was born, we have been actively participating in a lot of contributions, a lot of trainings, a lot of networking, meetings, and so on. So yeah, we are, as a company and myself, very much interested to make sure OCA grows, and we want to educate everybody about the beauty of OCA, the good crux of OCA, so that going onwards, we have more and more people involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Gijs-Jan with Terp in the Netherlands, and together with my good friend Tom, we took over the company in 2022. Before that, we had built our name as like a small contracting company doing customizations, and Terp was in need of fresh management, and we're still going strong, 11 people, where we're mostly trying to focus on OCA, but we tend to handle relatively large projects concerning both enterprise and community modules living alongside together in what I tend to consider as a very mature market where Odoo isn't used as a first step of automating away a business, but people moving away from other ERPs or trying to get rid of microservices and implementing something integrated, and that's a challenge, especially if you're a little bit of a smaller player in the field. So yeah, I'm excited to hear what other people have to say about their experiences.
Perfect, thank you very much. I'm Pedro Baeza from Technativa, Spain, and I act both as executive and technology officer. We are small, so I can cover more or less both things. And I personally work with Odoo, previously OpenERP, since 2011. And Technativa was founded on 2016. Well, we are small, but we make a lot of noise.
Wonderful. That's a very good way to describe Technativa, I think. Okay, so our first question for our panel is, how has the role evolved over the years? So the role of the Odoo integrator, and then we'll follow up with what key skills are essential today. So who would like to take that first? How has the role evolved over the past few years as an integrator? Jay, ready to go? And
sure.
Then Pedro.
Yeah. What I have seen, ourselves as a developer to start with, now we are grown as a company of 120 in India. But the role, so everybody is an integrator. How you have to evolve is, you have to get to the framework. Second is you have to know the good pitch of consulting, because nowadays, the way Odoo as a product has grown, it is actually a challenging time for OCA, an integrator and developer as well, because a lot of things are built in. The beauty of a lot of OCA modules are now going to be built in it sooner or later in 19, 20 versions. So I think as an integrator, if you have to upskill yourself, I think it's best is to study the businesses, study the micro verticals, and do the right consulting, because the technical things in future might matter less, more will matter consulting. So even for my suggestion for individual is study the consulting approach, see the methodology, how to meet to the client, simplifying the implementation. Also for OCA, it's my personal wish that OCA has to roll them out as a implementing consultant rather than only the group of techie people. So to simplify, learn the functional aspect, proper consulting, how to map, and maybe less development. That's the future.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
I would say not the, you are talking about evolution of integrators, but I would like to introduce more the evolution of the ecosystem, the whole ecosystem, moving integrators to resellers. And that's a problem because at the beginning we were passionate about what we are doing. Now there is only business in most cases. So that's something that makes the ecosystem less friendly and less eager to work on some things. But well, this is for what OCA was created, yes. And here we are on that part.
Yeah. That's it. Yes.
To just build on what Jay and Pedro said, I think an important part of the changing nature of our work has also been that we aren't running that many new implementations anymore. And with the growing feature sets of Odoo Enterprise and often customers wanting to move over to the nice shiny side of Odoo Enterprise, but then also trying to have OCA modules work alongside that, which is not that hard to implement, then you run into okay, where we've added the OCA modules, it's nice, or we've introduced Enterprise and it all still works, and now comes the migration part. And if you're not doing new implementations, and if you're not super enthusiastic anymore in your relationship with your existing customer, and it's just the hard work of figuring out, okay, how many hundreds of hours is this migration going to take, where we have to go through the black box of the enterprise migration, we have to take into account the status of OCA modules, and what has been refactored, and what is in a different repository, or what is now part of core, and how are we, in God's name, going to handle all the customizations that we made with not that much knowledge of things a couple of years ago. This is a whole different ball game compared to the glory days of, oh, let's write some code and let's see whether or not it works actually in production. So we've matured, and I have to say it's not always as much fun as it was a couple of years ago.
Thank you. I agree with all of you. Maybe to complete, I would say that Odoo tend to promote cheap, fast, and easy implementation. Maybe growing a foolish expectation from customers who don't know what an implementation project may look like. So we have to educate them to give them the whole picture of what's to consider when you want to implement an ERP. So that's the first thing. Maybe you have see it for yourself. And also maybe the business and the consulting has grown, such as you need to be comfortable with the industry standards.
Mm-hmm.
So you used to be able to develop a lot, and now you need to really get the clients back to the industry standards because the solution has matured so much.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need to hold that. We're moving on quickly there, but really quickly to summarise there, because the first questions there were how has the role of the Odoo integrator evolved over the past few years, and what key skills are necessary? So, oh no, it's over here. I'm double. So Jay was saying that the consultancy side of things is the skills that really you need to focus on at the moment. Pedro's talking about reselling and going that way. That's sort of the main points there, but then you also had the industry standards as well. And you guys have, TERP has had to just evolve constantly from the small basic into the different I guess, elements of the new integrations and implementations. So that probably didn't make a lot of sense, a lot of words. Here we go, quick one, next one. How do you introduce Odoo and the OCA to clients, and what key benefits of open source solutions do you highlight? Who wants to go first? Pedro's always ready. We can go this.
Something rotatory.
Yeah, you keen? There we go.
Well, Odoo, we introduce it as one of the most mature, if not the most mature, open source solution for ERPs, and going for with OCA modules that today you can definitely have a project without customization of code production. So that's the first thing. And then as a benefits, of course, you will find the capability to check for bugs for yourself in the code, not being taken into hostage by your editor at some point. And of course, you have the ability to master, to define all the parameters of your offer. So that's pretty much like this, yeah.
How do we promote or introduce Odoo to OCA to the clients? Well, let's understand that who is our customer. The customer is somebody who either is not willing to go to the enterprise level ERP, not Odoo enterprise, but enterprise level ERP like SAP Dynamics and so. So they have a limitation of a budget. And what they want is power and freedom to have their own way of customizing it, have their own way of being burdened free from the licenses of what Microsoft and other ERPs provide. So how we simply introduce is, it's a powerful, flexible ERP system, a good ecosystem blended with a very good complementary layer of OCA modules, and the OCA modules give a power of short quality. You know, App Store is also one of the sources to get the modules. Similar modules of our OCA modules could be rebranded by some companies and they can sell on App Store. But the beauty is well-backed quality standards, even though our PR stages are small, but PR stages are slow. But the guaranteed quality of modules is giving a sure power. And again, whoever is implementing surely to the real customer, only those modules are getting contributed. So that assurance of modules working right is also a good thing to pitch to our clients. So how we simply pitch is majorly to public sector, because public sector companies do not want to go with subscription licenses. They want to go for perpetual solution. So they don't want to even pay for license. They say, I want a solution that is cost of the shelf, easily use it for a long term without a licensing worry. And that's exactly where we in India have seen the good blend of Odoo community and OCA modules working well. We also did 2 good implementation of public sector. One of the smart cities of India, we have done implementation and it's running smooth. The good blend of Odoo community and OCA modules. That's how we go. Yeah.
I want to paint a little bit of a different picture, because to us in the day-to-day, OCA modules mostly, I would say, act as a backstop to warn people against, for example, customizing too often and too quickly for their particular business strangeness, where we, for example, say, okay, you want to do X, but what if we present you Y? Because it is already an OCA module, you only have to change your workflows a little bit, and then at least you have a free, I never tend to forget to mention that the modules are a free and well-maintained quality module, that we have actual interactions with the creator, on which we can input ourselves, which is a way safer model of supporting their custom workflows compared to either core Odoo, where it can be refactored away willy-nilly, or us having to make it and then, you know, being hit on the nose with customizations 2 years later when we finally migrate after 5 years. Another thing that tends to happen these days is that I just straight up say no to possible implementations where they only want to use Odoo Enterprise and I don't want to be a reseller. I don't care for it, I don't care for the 10% commission, and if you can't easily explain to them and have them accept that there is a third-party module sphere around what is a relatively well-developed product and where they can, you know, install a module and it being fine, but only if they do it if it's an OCA module, and please don't accept whatever is on the App Store. If they don't immediately get this story, then I tell them, okay, go and find a gold partner, because that's obviously the party that would be best suited to help you with your implementation. So maybe it's a bit more cynical than a nice story of, hey, look, we can sell OCA to the world, but we're in a quite mature market. There are a lot of products in the Netherlands that work very well for accounting, for HR, that Odoo still can't fully compete with. And if they ever get to Odoo, it's often because of cost reasons or because they are finally implementing an ERP. And then again, I have to sieve it and think, but why would I want to even work with you if you're going there for cost reasons or because you decided that you need an ERP? So it's hard to sell OCA is my
Sure.
often what I tend to encounter.
Okay, about this, I always like to make some comparisons, similarities, or metaphors, because as other people that is not here, Rafael said the market for lemons, we are, yeah, he tries to push that term, but yeah, it's true that the customers don't know about all of this. So I built a metaphor talking about a Lego set. The Odoo, the modularity concept can be more or less compared to a Lego set where you have a lot of pieces, a lot of bricks. And then is when I introduce that you have the bricks made from Odoo, Odoo SA itself, that are free. Then you have the bricks that makes Odoo, but they are not free. And then you have another piece set that is very important, which is the OCA modules. These pieces makes you to get a lot of features that are of very good quality. So you can assure that making the whole Lego construction, this is not going to collapse. And then you can also put maybe the set that is the enterprise pieces, but this is associated with several constraints that you may or not may accept. One of them is the cost of the license, and all the whole associated thing with this. When you stop paying, you have to, your construction, you have to remove all the pieces that are not. Another one is that if you need to put one piece on top of these enterprise pieces, that piece, you have to make it and you have to keep it yourself. You cannot share it. And finally, on the enterprise part, it results that you have another pieces from the OCA set that can replace these pieces, and they fit more or less the same. So, with this metaphor, I get to at least to people to understand this complex ecosystem.
It's a very interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? Just on the topic of all of that, I do have a quick question if we've got time. Yeah, 2 minutes, okay. Have you got any examples of successful client onboarding and education for the clients? No, no successful. The question, so any examples of successful client onboarding and education?
On education.
As once you've got
the education sphere.
No, sorry, educating your clients. Yes, you have it. Are you able to share? Here.
There's a company who came to us because they bought out our customer and we replaced their enterprise partner. And now the guy shoots in like a new task in our system and says, hey, I found this OCA module.
Ah.
I love it.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done any better. I think it's on Tom, but the guy
Tom.
has apparently internalized the fact that if it's an OCA module, then we actually prefer working with that instead of like buying some third-party thing and seeing whether or not it works and whether or not it was well maintained. And so
That's
this
great.
is something that I saw 2 weeks ago and I'm still happy about it.
Yes, you can share. That's a success story.
Yeah, then there's one success story is the sponsor of OCA now. A company called Weinstein. We did implementation them. And for them, their own repos, we are also doing on OCA and we also have open source. So yeah.
Great, yeah.
The customer is the platinum sponsor of.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, and now they are the platinum sponsors. Yeah, for sure. Julian, do you would like to share?
I share a successful learning for a client that it was a few years ago, and he was pushing a lot for a paying module on the Odoo App Store. And recently, he did. We migrate the database. And in this context, we had to rewrite the whole module more or less. So in this sense, at the time we were seeing him like, if you have this module, this OCA module to use, it will be better off on the long time. And so he had to acknowledge it by himself like just recently. So he learned it the hard way by mistake, but
Yes, he got there in the end. Yeah, fabulous, fabulous. All right, so we're on to business models for Odoo services. So what business models do you follow for Odoo services? Subscription-based, project-based, support models? And so the second part of this is how do you balance custom developments with OCA module integration in your offerings? Start down the end here. Here we go, Pedro.
Seriously? Well, I think I'm the most weird one on this ecosystem because I have gone to a very radical way of doing the business model, just providing one pack for all the customers. Obviously not the same price, but at the end is a subscription model that includes everything. Everything. No, a free VR of any development. But we pack everything for getting like a whole insurance. You can hire a full insurance of your car. So why not do it the same with your ERP? So we provide support and bug fixing, unlimited bug fixing for all the PCs in this Lego construction. Odoo SA modules, OCA modules, and maybe some small customization specifically for the customer. And we also include both the minor updates on the same version, but also the major upgrades from one version to another. And that's also both a differentiation advantage and also a challenge. But this is how we conceive this. And when you get to this whole formula, this escalates well, because at the end, more customers you have, more shared work you have. And you do only one time the migration of this module, the migration scripts, and so on, and you apply on more customers. You also remove from the customer to provide a discussion some of the usual controversial things. Because if you don't include the migration, when there is a new version, the customer, the first question that they are going to make is, what are the things that include this version that benefits me to pay this amount to migrate? And it's very difficult to have the killer new feature to convince the customers to migrate. So removing from the equation the need to put more budget on this, because they have already paid on the monthly fee that they even don't remember. Put a SEPA B2B payment order, debit order.
It's done.
So it's very, it's a success, I consider, and I have reduced a lot of friction with customers, removing from the equation this kind of things. And also providing, like some of you do, support based on hours. This is constraining your business. Why? Because at the end, you only have the margin from your hour cost and the sales cost, no cost, price. So you cannot escalate, you cannot get more margin if you go on that basis. Well, maybe, this customer hasn't consumed the hours. This is margin. But at the end, your capacity is also getting the maximum incomes you will receive, because that's what you sell. The coupling, this, what you provide and the incomes you receive on this basis, you always pay this amount. It doesn't matter if I have to work 1 hour or 100 hours. The key here is to put the right price for not having to lose. But this is the way to decouple your capacity from your incomes. So that's, I think that's the two keys of my business model.
How many customers?
50 right now.
There you go.
So imagine a totally different situation, maybe in part one where Pedro came from before implementing this subscription model. We only make, I think, 5, maybe 7% of our revenue out of subscription-based fees, and that's mostly because we also provide some hosting and we try to recoup infrastructure costs, maintaining our project management system, some tooling, stuff like that. And the rest is mostly big projects with existing customers, like the 15 active customers that we have, where a handful each year need migrating, and that might take 20 hours, that might take 40 hours, that might also take 1,100 hours if you're looking at a really funny migration coming from Odoo 11 Enterprise, trying to move to 16, and where they have now, I think, hired a developer with Odoo itself, because the Odoo migration scripts are not really suited for this migration. There's funny things going on if you don't genericize your offering and you try to be a bespoke solutions partner for some wildly different companies. And we tend to be quite flexible, and I think our strength is in our technical knowledge, so our hourly rates can be quite high. But then again, if I promised beforehand that a migration was going to cost 300 hours and I look into the timesheets this morning and I see 700 hours written, that's going to be a quite difficult negotiation. I'm afraid we're going to lose at least the opportunity cost of 20, maybe 25,000 euros there. And yeah, that's something that we've learned to live with, and we're still a profitable company, but the friction that Pedro mentioned is definitely there if you're not on a subscription model. And then the other interesting thing we do is we have 2 out of 11 people working pretty much full-time on a product, on a paid App Store module that you pay a lot of money for to get a really nice JavaScript front end going on what is right now quite simply the project model on Odoo. And there is a stand on the experience and you should visit it. It's the Brinton Gans Pro View stand, and that's just something we're trying out. And to be very honest, and it's unfortunate that there's a camera running, but like we recoup like 11 euros per working hour on this. So it's an experiment. I'm not sure whether or not it's going to work, but it's fun, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure, thanks. Our business model runs into 3 pillars. We call it a project, which is a full implementation, starting from requirement gathering to the AMC cycle, typical implementation. Second, we call it service, typically development for some company or some partners, or could be little offshore, could be only for the consulting. Sometimes consulting is very important, as I always prefer. The right, having the right screw fixed is coming only from experience. So that's the consulting they sell. The third pillar is very important. We call it product. What is product for us? It's not only the App Store modules, but also the industry verticals. So out of all projects we have done, we extract the common elements of the industry. Let's say if we have done something for the gym industry. So for the gym solutions we implemented, we extract the common elements and we make a gym as a product. And that's what we also sell. So we have such way 40 plus industry verticals we have kept ready to serve. Gym, spa salon, law and the field service as well, the law and legal management system, such small verticals which is going to be the time for Odoo to come with micro verticals. So those verticals we are coming as a small products. So we have our business model, product, project and services. Subscription almost no, except we do some enterprise implementation, only those ones, but yeah, less revenue, more is into proper project and consulting.
Thank you. For Numigi, we have actually 20% of our turnover who is made out of subscription, so hosting and fees, and 80% is made out of services such as consulting, development, etc. And as for migration, we have a mix between Pedro and Terp, which is we have an annual fee that is charged to the client to maintain and port the common tools, and then it will reduce the final amount of the migration of the client. And we tend to not migrate every 2 versions, but 4 versions to make it easier financially and also humanly for the team of the client as for ours.
Yeah, that's 4 very different ways of doing business there. So that's it. We're moving on. All right. So our 4th topic here is managing projects, modules, migrations, and hosting. So how do you integrate OCA modules into projects? What are the biggest challenges within Odoo migrations, and what are the hosting options?
I think we just
Covered quite a bit of that. Yep.
I have one thing to say.
Yep. Here we go.
Yeah. We are very practical about when somebody comes with a version migration from, let's say, 11 to 18 or 10 to 16, or some people from 8 to 13. So, see, there's a question that what value are you getting from migration? Because migration is not always an easy thing to go, because there are always options. There's an accounting rule that every 6 years you have to make sure your data is to be there. So accountant want, when they want reporting, they want only the older data for reporting. When they have 5 years analysis they want. So what we typically do, we properly brainstorm, because there is no one solution fits all. We brainstorm with the customer whether how much data you regularly need, how much actually the frequency is of this reporting you need. So sometimes we come up with a solution that, okay, we keep your older version as is, and we start afresh with the master data and opening balances to the newer version, because the cost is so high, and rather than the cost of migration is high, timing of course the developers and the analyst is high. Better that we simply only use a master data, and whenever you need data, we can make an API connection, we can make a bridge, so old data can be simply used in the either new database or could be a BI tool that will do the reporting for you. That's how we do. There are cases that for them we only keep only important data set, let's say only the invoices, only the accounting data to be migrated, not the rest. Because daily usage, the frequency is very important of the data. So if I use, my accountant is using daily the accounting, they really do not want to go to the old data. So it's not logical to mass your database unnecessarily, because the index technical word is very important as well. So our migration is very dynamic, and we don't really sell one thing to all. It's very depending on the customer.
Anyone else have anything to add? Yep.
I think the question of integrating OCA modules is quite simple in a lot of cases for us, because we have the Netherlands localization where a number of very logical modules live, and we tend to install those always, especially if a feature is not there in enterprise even. Then for almost all of our customers, okay, here you are, there's a module for it, thank you very much, it's for free. And another thing is that often the modules are purely demand based, so customer comes to us with some question and okay, we've encountered this before, there's a solution, or maybe we haven't encountered it before and it's outside of our immediate knowledge. But oftentimes there's a very nice OCA module already there, thanks to people like Pedro, I suspect. And then there's of course the cases where you simply know that the way a client is handling their day-to-day workflow is pretty much stupid, and then you simply tell them, look, this can be solved in a way better manner, so let's install this module on your testing environment and you can go play around with it. And that often works pretty well. And then I would tend to say that the biggest challenge with Odoo migrations for us right now is actually the enterprise part, where you don't know what's going to come out of that script wherever they have it running, because is it going to take long? Is it going to take short? How do we handle the tooling around it? Yes, I know the solution in my brain and even in my heart, but my gut tells me that it is a very difficult conversation piece with customers. So Open Upgrade is very transparent. Even for me as a non-developer, I can understand what is going on in Open Upgrade, but I sure as hell don't know what's going on with the Odoo Enterprise migration.
Yeah, Pedro?
About integrating OCA projects, we use what we call it OCA first. That's our approach, where if we have a need, we search for that need in OCA, and if not, from the beginning, we put it on OCA. So even the first prototypes can be a pull request in draft state. So we don't do all the life cycle with the customer and then goes to OCA. That this is a very common problem, and why people have frictions in the OCA ecosystem, because they have already passed one phase where the customer put in the annotations, and then you go to OCA and you find another perspectives, another approaches, or even conflicting changes. And then they say, hey, Pedro doesn't want to accept this pull request. So you can avoid this trying to go to OCA at the very beginning of your development cycle. Even not having code, you can put an issue explaining what you want to do, and maybe you will be surprised discovering that this is already and you don't know.
Yeah.
Some can give a hint, or maybe pointing to one possible direction on this. So I advise you to do this. About migrations, we are, this is for us like the, how to say, the no stress task to complete the days. So let's migrate one module today, tomorrow another one. So we spare the migration tasks across time, and we are not very constrained because deadlines, because from the very beginning we have migrated to a new version. The next version race starts, and we are doing this migration first for having more knowledge about the new versions on the corresponding areas. Second, to not lose the way to code for adapting and so on, and also for taking the occasion to improve some things. So for us, it's very integrated on our day-to-day, and we don't need to have some sprints for migrating modules and so on.
That's great. There we go. Did you want to add anything there, Julien?
Just maybe on our use of OCA module, we have actually two patterns. One is a systematical approach in our profile or recipe of Odoo. We have a few modules that helps at the interface level that we add through profile module, so that they are installed at every building, every build, and we have also on client demand a process to integrate other module from OCA.
Great. Again, a whole range of different ways of dealing with things. Are we on to the next one? So, future perspectives. What trends or innovations will impact Odoo integrators? So what do you foresee impacting integrators in the Odoo ecosystem? And do you have a vision for the future of integration? So first of all, impacts and then vision. Yep.
I'm quite afraid of Odoo SA taking so many things out of the community version that it will become a very opaque offering to any potential new customers, where the only way that they are going to see a viable open source based version of Odoo is by even speaking to an OCA integrator. And unfortunately, I think we are the only serious one left in our country. So
oh, really?
We would be the first and the only party that they would need to speak to if they ever want to install open source Odoo. And that's, well, it doesn't scare me, but I don't like that responsibility. I'd rather mutualize it somehow. And maybe the future is sitting next to me here or there, but it's not a very cool position to be in, I feel. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
How about the others? Have you got Pedro, Jay?
On an ideal world, I would expect to have more people working with OCA, so that the effort to migrate all the modules to one version is split between more people. And there is very skilled people out there, but some companies have it with the door locked on their offices, and they don't know the real world, the real and very satisfying open source world. So I hope from OCA and to communicate well enough to attract to these people, and to be able not only to maintain version, but also to make R&D task. One note, because I think it was another point, about updates, versions, and so on. I want to make one clarification. Even versions are not more stable than other versions, okay? They are the same, so you don't have to be constrained by that.
There you go.
And another thing that comes with the approach, for me, is not a problem which version, and I'm not on a rush to go to the latest version. Why? Because the business model, if you don't migrate now, you will migrate on a couple of months. And I don't skip versions. Understanding that, not all the customers go for each version. I migrate, for example, a customer from 14 to 16, another from 15 to 16, but then to 18, and so on. There is no need to pass for each version. It depends on the customer size, and it depends on the planning you do with the customer. But if I have already an even or an odd version available, and for a new customer, this is the good version, because everything I need is more or less migrated, or there is a little effort for having the modules migrated, I go to that version. I don't wait and put a 2 years old version, because that's the one I have focused. And it's also problematic to do that jumps. First, on a collaborative ecosystem, where you lose all the changes in between and all the decisions that are made in between. And you find that after 2 or 3 versions, the module you used to know is not the same now, because there has been a refactoring, there has been some decision taken in between, and so on. So skipping version is not good for your company, because you are not on this. It's also important to gradually train your people on the things, on the new features, the new ORM things, and so on. If you skip these versions, and I know very radical skipping from version 11 to version 16, then you have to learn again everything, and it will cost more than if you go slowly on each version. So I want also to put that message, not in the correct point, but I have taken the occasion.
Sorry for claiming the mic before I pass it on. Another thing that I expect that we'll be facing is that we'll become more and more Odoo archaeologists, where potential customers come in on a very old version and with some really silly customizations, and that the only truly technically equipped parties that still exist to handle that stuff and get paid for it is an OCA integrator. This is often a fun way of earning money, but it can also be frustrating.
Yeah, I'll focus on the future trends, perspectives for as an integrator, as an OCA or Odoo integrator in the ecosystem. So what we have done, I'll enlarge the point of Pedro, that you have to keep your team very much up to the date with the latest features, because Odoo 18 is coming with good technical features, ORM is great. So what we do as a team of 120 in India, we have a learning and training department that continuously trains our people to make sure we are lined up with the right facts, with the right knowledge of Odoo. Plus now Odoo is a big ecosystem. ERP is a big thing. I think there is no one person who knows everything. So there is suddenly a module coming out of rooms module or rental module or subscription module which does wonder, which you might have not even known for. So the learning and research department which is doing good job for us, that's number one. Second, the way Odoo is growing to the companies, the little bigger companies now can accept Odoo. The older companies who have been using Odoo have a huge data. So my point is coming in, everybody will now have a huge data to handle. So if you are an integrator, maybe the good crux, good money could be you have an integration with the good BI tools. Because that's also lacking feature in Odoo, because you cannot make nice cubes A and B and make a report in Odoo. So that's why people like us, we have to do Power BI integration or Tableau integration. So for an integrator, the future perspective is to go better is, ERP is everybody is selling, but maybe do a good BI tooling integration. That is a way to go, because of course Odoo is not power packed in this. The third thing I see, which we have started building the products on, is the AI link of ERP. To make the life easy, we have started making AI link, some chatbot with all Odoo users and ERP users to talk with. So that could be the trend you can catch. And also, while you sell Odoo, you also take left eye which are ERPs growing next to the Odoo, and the right eye which are the ERPs growing up above Odoo. So talking small ERPs, ERP next kind of thing. Yeah, good open source ERPs, fully open source, maybe better features. Also the plus level ERPs, SAP and so on. So while you are selling, you have to know these features also as well. Not only the knowledge of Odoo, but also the outside knowledge of Odoo to make sure you are well winged with the ERP lifecycle. That's what we do internally.
Thank you. Two trends I'd like to share maybe. One is that Odoo is developing more and more service implementation for itself, by itself, its consultant. So, in the same time, they are recruiting young, of course, partners that don't know too much the solution or have very few knowledge of it. And so the trends are there will be more and more resellers of Odoo license and trainers, and less experienced partners who do real integration and code customization and OCA contribution. So that's my personal take on this, but and the other one maybe is the integration of artificial intelligence. That maybe the integrators that will succeed in the coming years will be those who are able to integrate external tools such as AI and move on this ability. So, yeah.
How are we doing time-wise? We're okay. There we go. I can conclude. I don't know how well I'll conclude, but I will try. And then we can have some questions. So we've heard, everybody here has very different business models, very different outlooks on how they use things, but I think it all comes back to, as well, that they are OCA users and very much, and try and sell that and share that within, with clients. The migration side of things, it sounds tough wherever you go, but hopefully with Open Upgrade and continually putting the effort in there, we can make that easier and better and something that's easy to sell to clients. One of the key points that sort of came through as well as I was listening was just how important it is that we're educating the people that we're working with and our teams as well. It seems by skipping those steps, skipping and just jumping ahead, you end up costing yourself a whole lot of time and money that you didn't need to. So we'll open this up now to questions to the floor for our wonderful integrators. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here and sharing. Very appreciated. Here we go, first person.
Thank you. We had this one slide on business model. There was the one question, and then there was the question on balancing custom code versus OCA modules. I felt we jumped that question a bit, or did I miss it in your answers? And you had it?
We jumped it because we're trying to stick to timing. So we can have a go now if you'd like to about balancing OCA modules with. Yep.
So OCA plus custom code.
Yep.
Well, we're still doing our own migration of our own database from 14 to 16, and I'm of a mind to get rid of all the custom code wherever possible, and that's the crux of it. Wherever possible, if we need to maintain some kind of silly customization because that is just a key client workflow, or in this case our own workflow, then unfortunately the only solution would be for us to commit it to OCA, and if I don't trust the workflow enough, then I just won't, because I don't think it would be a quality addition to the community. But I hope that we will be able, at least in the mid-term, to commit every customization to OCA, and I think that the person to the right of me is already at that point, so let him explain.
Exactly, with the OCA first approach, this is what we get. About 90% of the code we produce is on OCA. Why this remaining 10% or even less? I don't have stats for the last time, but it will be more or less that. Because any need you have can be guided to something standard, or you can produce something that can be a standard, because most of the problems with customization is that it's not looking for a generic approach, so it's not suitable for OCA. But when we develop, we always look for a generic architecture to fit on OCA. Then we may provide or not more features on that generic architecture, because at the end we cannot say for any need you have to pay 200 development hours. Okay, but we try always to focus on providing a generic solution. And this 10% is thing that doesn't directly fit on OCA. The invoice report customization with the branding of the company. Of course, this is something totally custom and you don't need to do it. Or there are some flows that can be very specific or business strategic. So they don't want, and there is even some NDA clauses there, but they are the minimum, and I don't like also to work on that basis. I like always open, and I put on my contracts that everything will be open. From the beginning, warn the customer that, hey, this code is mine. No. This code will be open source, developed, funded by you, developed by us, and with the corresponding attribution, if you want. We have on OCA a section, the credits, for also putting that. This has been funded by this company.
Another question up here. Yeah. Did that help you?
Yes.
So coming back to selling to clients the OCA, at communication level, do you think we can do anything or something from the OCA to better communicate the difference with enterprise? I'm just, before this talk, I was talking with by phone with a client. It was, hey, I'm on the Odoo webpage, and it's describing the difference between enterprise and community, that this is something that you are trying to sell to me, and I don't quite understand. So I have to, all the things that you said, I had to reply to him, and I feel like I lack some kind of common tool, because we are on common ground on this, on this part. Probably each integrator has more specific knowledge on a field, on some sector, but there is a common ground here where maybe from the OCA we can try to communicate. It's not enterprise versus community, it's enterprise versus community plus OCA. And the Lego things that you were saying, Pedro, how we can, do you think we can communicate this at OCA level and have everybody in a common ground communication tool to better communicate this to our clients? Thanks.
Thank you. That's a very good question and point. But I think actually that it could be a good thing for OCA to develop some common tools on communication, on selling support, on commercial support, and it could also be a way to generate revenues, because it will take, of course, it could be for free, but it could be something that could be a source of revenues, and because it will take time to develop, to validate, and to maintain those type of documentation, as well as to publish it on website and different support of communication. But I agree with you some percent. It's something that could be done to raise the value and the perception of OCA. Yeah.
I think the most effective way would be to fork Odoo and start asking money as OCA, and I don't want to do that. So I think this is going to be a big struggle for us over the coming years. Because I already can't clearly explain why people should choose OCA. It's just an experience that I've built up over the years, even as a non-developer, like I mentioned before, that, look, if you don't do this and to start extending Odoo, then you're going to run into trouble. But that's a future problem and not a right now problem if you're talking to a prospective integration customer. So, yeah, it's hard, and I think we should mutualize this tough stuff and maybe, I don't know, put a sticker on the module that says gold star, this is really good.
It is something that we talk about within the board as well a lot. I can share with you, like, just how to sell to the different, with the OCA to integrators themselves, then on to clients and that side of things. So it is big topics of conversation. I would say watch the space a bit. There we are trying to make change as well, and we are aware that that sort of thing would be very, very beneficial and helpful. So yeah, we're aware as well, so that you know, and we'll keep you posted, hopefully, on things coming. Pedro?
This question must be more answered by the current board and so on, but let me point to some ideas. So write down.
Yeah, we're recording it. There we go.
Now, one of them can be to have Odoo SA has already like an onboarding guide to sell Odoo. We can make something similar with OCA. Joining all our experiences and creating a guide that serves for newcomers and also for everyone wanting to sell OCA with the patterns, the things to say and so on. That can be, I think, a good idea with a relative small effort. Another one can be to publish references of successfully community customers. That can be also a reference for people to trust on what you are trying to sell. And the last one is to publish some blog posts about all these things, putting together for not having to repeat the same speech to each customer. Instead, you reference to that pages. So. 3 ideas.
Great ideas.
For free.
There you go. Thanks, Pedro. That's it. We have another question here.
Yeah, I wanted to also maybe add another idea.
Go for it.
The one from Pedro is, yeah, kind of probably have a SaaS Odoo community plus OCA best of OCA module that can be used as kind of some business model. It's not licenses, but it's more paid user to be in the SaaS with bundled solution. Could be project, could be accounting, could be invoicing, anything else. Just single app that will install the whole bunch of OCA module that is nice for this solution. And having this, yeah, it needs to be promoted and so on, but it could also generate leads for OCA partners that will give the support and probably also extend the maybe customization or the configuration and help and training to the customers. Because probably a part of giving the infrastructure, the SaaS infrastructure to their customer, I don't think that OCA should take in charge the consulting business. For this, it probably should give it to the best OCA partners. And the subscription things could be a things or something else, but anyway, this could be a solution that brings revenue, even if it will be some investment to do, but could do also kind of roadshow in a different country,
Yeah.
and they
Would be
can
lovely.
also contact the official Odoo partner to say, okay, we do the roadshow, we make advertisement to local customer, and we also contact the local partner, the Odoo partner, say, okay, come to see what we can give you as a services, as a solution, and so on. But
That's great. Thank you for sharing. We have tried this year as well. Well, we started with the Odoo India Community Days as well. Yeah, pass it. So we have we are sort of trying that this year with the Odoo Community Days in India. We had a booth, we had our partners, our members there on the stand, and that was quite successful as well. Cyril?
Another silly idea maybe.
No
Would
ideas
it
are
be silly
silly.
to have a OCA ERP powered by Odoo?
Yeah, sure. Fork it.
Don't for Odoo, but do a OCA ERP, like Lucien said, but with a more marketing approach.
It's not easy actually. You know, see, every company is an individual company. So if you want to make an OCA ERP, we have to have a big structure that people are dedicated to it, paid to do it, and there has to be a model, a typical business model for OCA as a company.
I think
it's very difficult. We cannot sustain. Even while we were in 2018, we were thinking that if Odoo shuts the shop, they stop. Okay, Fabian sells it. We were thinking Chem2Chem is a capable company, C2C. They can handle Odoo as a community model and they can take it forward. But actually, now Odoo, the way Odoo has grown, forking and maintaining is a deadly difficult task. You cannot reach to every country unless you have Odoo.
Yesterday I was discussing with Virginie as well, and we were talking about the time when Odoo SA is going to be bought by Google or something, and is not going to be open source anymore.
Yeah. That's why you have to build your own.
You prepared
your
that.
own,
No.
stacks. That's why Odoo
Pass this
and
pen.
OCA would be the way it would be your
But we
process
can't,
to
he's
build
not
up.
recording him talking. Yeah. Oh, he's finished talking. Too quick. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I think that is a pretty good point, and I think we should be prepared. But especially when I think about the features, you also said, the community is getting less and less. And I think we need to be prepared for that, and especially if we're always competing with Odoo SH. But I think the main difference is Odoo Enterprise, in my opinion, and also the partners are selling features. And I think the Odoo community companies are selling solutions. And I think that must be the big difference. So I think we understand customers even better and find a fitting solution for them. Instead of putting a product up to a company, we receive calls from different customers. We have enterprise, but it's not working. And it's not working because the solution is not good. It's not working because the partners are not interested in the customers. And this is something where we might put on and say, okay, we have solutions for this, but we also need to prepare for having a community version which can compete with Odoo Enterprise.
Well, let me pitch you an alternate reality, because if we aren't all 100% into this, like if we can't do this all together, then we individually as a company will just be servicing probably enterprise partners as their business-to-business solution builder, and that will earn us money as well. And then unfortunately we'll have to say goodbye to any open source model. Yeah, let me state that as a fact to the camera, because that is a possible future that we're looking at.
I don't think so.
Now, let me reason it. I don't think that Odoo SA is going to close in a more or less mid-term future date. Odoo, because is a way to get leads and is part of their marketing or the image. They have an open product with all the asterisks you want, but they have this. And this is an entry for a lot of people to attract to this software, and then they put enterprise and so on. But if you think they are closing on each version and a small fraction, reaping some things. They keep the same percentage of code, that is their delivery, and we already know what certain promises means. Yeah, but it's not also a problem because the community is absorbing on each version, on each closure, the corresponding OCA modules to provide the same features. So we are expanding more and more the OCA ecosystem with the things they are moving, and we have time to do it. So for me, it's not bad. I sometimes prefer to have the control over the evolution and to have patches and so on in, for example, the OCA reconciliation modules, than trying to fight against Odoo to have some basic things explained that they are needed and so on. So it's not bad at all, this thing.
You know, Pedro, we just say, let's just get ready. We don't say we must be ready.
Yeah, but the way to, I repeat the sentence, Cyril is saying that we must be ready for this scenario. But this is what we are doing, providing the pieces that are missing on each version. And it's important, and let me put another commercial message, that being enterprise or not, please support the creation of the new features although you have it on enterprise. For example, the reconciliation modules and any other things. For two reasons. One, to prepare to that scenario and to have alternatives or not be only locked on enterprise. And the other, if there is some kind of support, the community contributors don't have to spend the time doing that thing, so they can spend their time doing another interesting things. So please support also.
So yeah. You had a quick question. Is it quick? Because we're at lunchtime. So one quick last question.
No, it's more like a hypothetical thing, because I'm hearing things about what if they close shop and we should be ready and so on and so on. This gentleman was talking about, shouldn't we be talking about creating a SaaS solution so we can get ready and go compete with Odoo? Aren't you guys afraid that if you're going in that direction, the Odoo attitude will change completely?
We're just about to be squashed. No. I mean, what attitude? Compared to some of the people here, I'm a relative newcomer, but even I have seen the attitude change with the changing in size of the Odoo experience and the amount of access that you get to any Odoo people. I mean, we're on our 700th Odoo partner manager right now, and that suddenly there's 3 people at Odoo that I speak to because some of our customers are actually interesting to them. And then we get upgraded to a different person who is not 21 but 23 years old, you know. I don't feel being taken very seriously by Odoo, and I personally don't mind. So it is a valid argument, but I'm already past that.
Doesn't care about us now.
Is it quick? Because I have to go down and sort out lunch. Oh, these people are wandering around as well the whole time, so you are able to chat to them real quick.
Yeah, maybe one comment on what you just said. I think exactly this already happens, that Odoo already crashes the bug anyways, because we did that as company, we did that I think now 6 or 7 years ago, that they let us fall because we did not do Odoo Enterprise business. We said, okay, no, we want to stick to OCA, we want to focus on that, and it's exactly what's happening there. But as you said, I'm also not afraid anymore of this. We are doing now business after this partnership with Odoo. We are not Odoo partner anymore, and we do not implement any enterprise anymore.
See, there you go.
And we are still here. So I think it's still the right way to go.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. That's great. Just remember, you can have a chat with anybody while you're here. It's the wonderful joys of the OCA days is that everyone's available. We are available. Everyone's available to have a chat with. So thank you again to our integrators, and I'll go down and sort out lunch. So thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.